All right, guys, got some really interesting news here about the Ron DeSantis campaign. Apparently, his super PAC, Never Back Down, is canceling all of its 2024 reservations in Iowa and New Hampshire. They've canceled a total of $2.5 million in ads. That's a lot of money. So what does this mean? Well, the first thought, of course, is he could be dropping out. This could be a sign that he sees the writing on the wall. He's fallen from his peak. He knows it's a wrap. He wants to save his ass for a future in politics. It could be that the Republican donors have warned him. Like, look, it's not going to be you. Sorry, you had a good run at it, but you collapsed. And if you don't drop out now, we're not going to fund your campaigns in the future. And if they pull the ripcord, yeah, he's going to take his marching orders. And he's going to listen to the donors. And he's going to ride off into the sunset. So that is very, very possible. The other option is that we know from a number of reports that came out within the past couple weeks that this Never Back Down super PAC is an absolute mess. That they had one person who was leading it and he stepped aside, and it was kind of a big deal because he was, going after the campaign on the way out. Then somebody else was leading it and they stepped aside, and they also had a million different problems. Internally, they're fighting like crazy. You have some people who want him to take a more aggressive path against Trump. Other people who are like, we want you to lay off Trump more. There's just differing perspectives on the grand vision of the direction of what DeSantis is doing. And that's led to, look, we've all seen this in politics. When you start underperforming in a presidential campaign, the knives come out and people start pointing the finger at everybody. And apparently that's what was happening at Never Back Down. So there was some reporting that, there's like a new super PAC or something with different leadership. And it's possible that this super PAC is donezo, but then there's a new DeSantis super PAC where potentially they will be the one to pick up the slack here and start buying the ads. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, I'm 50-50 on it overall. But the more important question here is, what should DeSantis do? And in my opinion, the thing he should do is just hang in there, right? Like, he doesn't want to get embarrassed in Iowa. He doesn't want to get embarrassed, which, again, this might be a sign he's going to drop out right before Iowa. But remember, guys, Trump's got 91 criminal charges against him. There was a Colorado ruling that just said Trump can't be on the presidential ballot. And there may be other states that follow suit on that. Now, the Supreme Court's ultimately going to decide. But still, these are signs of hey, it's not all peaches and rainbows. It's not all hunky-dory for Donald Trump. So, he's also 1,000 years old and he's fat. So he could die, right? In which case, then it would be DeSantis versus Haley. And in a one-on-one DeSantis versus Haley, DeSantis can get a lot of those people who were Trump supporters. Haley, I don't think, can get many of them at all. Because the Trump people don't hate DeSantis, or some of them do, but they're more mixed on DeSantis than they are on Nikki Haley. They almost across the board despise Nikki Haley. So if it's DeSantis versus Haley, he is more of the heir apparent, and I would favor him in that battle between DeSantis and Haley. I think he would probably beat Haley. So he might want to hang in there just as an insurance policy in case something happens with Trump where he can't end up being the nominee, right? But it's also the case that that's where we're at now, right? It would have to be a scenario where something catastrophic happens for Trump that then opens the door for him. Because if nothing happens with Trump, then it's going to be Trump, right? So it's a weird position. He's in a very, very bizarre position where, he's the favorite, if not for this one person with all these criminal charges who might be disqualified from even being in the general election, right? So I don't know. It's a tough situation. It might be evidence they're going to drop out. It might not be evidence. It might just be evidence of a new super PAC coming along and they're going to put all their eggs in that basket. So I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think, but certainly this is a very interesting piece of news.